This is Telltale Guys, Ancient Sports.
What's your ETA? We'll be there in 2 minutes. Come on, we have lives to save here.
All right, another week of Telltale Guys, the show that's the brattiest on the internet. Did I use that right, Zane?
I don't know. I've heard of that associated with AOC, and I'm not sure what it means. Do you have a better clarification of brattiest?
I think, as the kids say, it just means you're doing your best, being your most authentic self. Maybe Riz. Maybe we got the Riz, the most Riz.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Riz
Yeah.
with it.
We got the Telltale Guys Riz. Yeah, that's
I might
right.
as well just say 23 Skidoo because we're so old and out of touch.
Well, you're older than me, so I'll let you have that.
Ouch. How's your week going, Zane?
It's good. I'm glad we've hit the weekend. It's a long Labor Day weekend, so excited for that. Just gonna see some friends this weekend. Could get some like a rib grill out action.
One
going
rib?
on. One rib, yes, one rib. Multiple ribs and some sides and desserts, so that'll be really fun. Otherwise, just kind of hanging out, enjoying the
Cool.
weekend.
Are you doing the ribbing or grilling of the rib, or are you going someplace to get it?
I am going to our friend's house for the grilling of the rib. So
Okay.
yeah, that'll be fun.
Pig rib or cow rib?
I'm pretty sure it'll be pork.
Okay.
My friend Zach, he's a pretty good cook, and I guess cow ribs are fine, but usually you do pork, right?
Yeah, and most people do pork, but I mean,
Yeah.
I guess cow rib's more of a Texas-y type of stuff. But do you have a favorite type of rib, like baby back or spare rib?
Baby back for sure.
Really? Okay, I'm more of a spare rib guy. I think I like the extra fat and flavor on it, even though it's got baby back has the better song, obviously.
Right.
From Chili's, but
Chili's baby back ribs.
Awesome.
There's a great new clip that Isabel actually shared with me on Instagram. It's these 3 British guys, like young guys in their 20s, and they're like going to an American like barbecue restaurant, and they're like starting to eat their baby back ribs with a fork and knife, and the big like chef comes over and he's like, no, this is how you're gonna do it. And so were
they blown away by American food? It was like
they were we'll just show you real quick.
Oh, you have one.
I don't have it, but
oh, you mean and post?
We'll do it in post.
We're foreign. Well, we don't know what we're doing.
Stop with the knives.
No, you don't need a knife?
No, you pull it apart with your hand and listen. Hold up, and you take your fingers and you lift that up and you eat it.
Okay.
Not with a fork.
Okay, cheers. Cheers to the best ribs in America.
It'll fit, I guess, because ribs go well with watching the games, and I understand that's what we're gonna be talking about today.
Yeah, so basically, in American like sports, we have football coming up, which is always fun, college and NFL. So I was trying to bring that into my topic, but there wasn't many kind of crazy things that have happened with kind of modern sports. I mean, there have been, but I'm trying to think of more related to our show. And so I was like, why don't we just go back in time, go check out our ancient sports that have been part of our history and have impacted modern sports very much, like American football, baseball, wrestling, all that, all the, not just American, international sports as a whole. So let's jump right into it. And this one is pretty cool right here. So we are going to jump into the Mesoamerican ball game. That's right. That's the name of this kind of, it's in kind of the Mexican region, like Central American region. And they didn't really have a name that they came up with. So Mesoamerican ball game, it is.
Not very catchy.
Not very catchy. And ball game, it just reminds me of baseball. So it's kind of weird to me. But this was a significant and ancient sport played by various cultures across Mesoamerica. And I was just referencing Mesoamerica. So here we got kind of back in the day. I mean, this I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but this kind of goes back to, you know, well, there's some BC times, but I mean, obviously we had the conquistadors and others come visit them, but these civilizations are very old. But
Hmm.
we have the Olmec Heartland, which is kind of this red color here. So right kind of in the central area
Okay.
at this Gulf of Mexico.
They're the ones
Um,
with the big heads.
yeah, it actually I wasn't that familiar with the Olmec. So they're the ones with like, is it headdresses or
Yeah, so like I know the sculptures and stuff they have are just these giant heads, and they have like typically some kind of headdress on. They'd probably
okay?
be an interesting episode in the future to do, just because they're kind of mysterious and don't really fit well, I think, with a lot of theories in the Mesoamerican area. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
everyone's more familiar with Aztec and Mayan, and
yeah.
so like just like I said, like I've heard of them, but not that familiar with it. So that's a good one because I'm sure so many people have done Aztec topics, Mayan especially with the calendar, but Olmec that's an interesting idea. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, so you can see kind of where they're all grouped around here. I guess it kind of looks like Mayan had a bigger population here, but so I was right. The game kind of dates back to around 1400 BC and was a central aspect of social, political, and religious life for these cultures and civilizations. And it was played on a specialized court with stone walls, so you
Did
kind
all
of get
three of these groups play this game, or was it more one specific?
all three of them did. Maybe
Okay.
like there was like a little variation of the rules. You'll kind of see like there's through this description, it gives a kind of straightforward description, but we'll see images and a little video later that kind of like shows how it's a little different from culture to culture and how they play it, but kind of the basic idea is the same. And you can see, especially in this picture right here, they have like the stone hoop up there, and they got this rubber ball, which I'll go into. And the whole idea is like they don't use their hands very much like soccer, but this is how kind of crazy this sport is. Like they're like hitting the ball with like their hips and all that, and maybe part of their thighs, but that's like
Mm.
kind of the main rule. And like I said, it involved a rubber ball. Um, and sometimes they could use their forearms, or it kind of depends. Like I said, there's variations. They could use rackets or bats, but for what I'm kind of seeing, a lot of it is mostly kind of just using your legs or your hips. Now, here is the ball. This is obviously, I guess, like
Mm.
maybe you say like fossilized,
Yeah, it
but
looks hard.
yeah, but it is made out of rubber, like straight rubber, and it would be around 9 to 10 pounds. So that's fairly heavy to be
Heavy,
kind of
yeah.
knocking around with your hips. You got to have a little extra cushion on there to
Yeah,
knock
or be
that
like
thing around.
Shakira or something.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, Shakira probably very good at knocking this ball around
Yeah.
in multiple ways. The exact rules of the game varied between cultures, but it generally involved getting the ball through the stone hoop, like I said. And here's another picture of it. And obviously, they added like a little bit of like kind of like art and all that. And I'll go into how like they made this game a part of their architecture. And as you know, Josh, these Mesoamerican civilizations, their engineering, their design, everything was beautiful, ornate, and mathematical. So it's kind of cool that it's like it sinks in really well their um, with their culture and their architecture.
Hmm.
And so the ball game was also just more than sport, kind of going back into their culture. It held deep religious and ritualistic significance. It was often associated with the underworld and the gods, particularly with the Maya, who believed the game symbolized the struggle between life and death. And games were sometimes played as part of religious ceremonies, and you can kind of get where I'm going here. And in some cases, they culminated in human sacrifices, and this would involve either the losing team or the captain. Um, and I couldn't help myself. I don't know if you saw the movie Apocalypto, directed by Mel
I did,
Gibson.
yes.
Um,
It's a
but
good
just to
movie.
kind, it is very good. Basically, it follows, I guess, kind of a not necessarily a poor um, Mayan individual, but his
The
tribe
outskirts.
lives in the outskirts in the jungle compared to the main civilization. I'm not sure what their main city was called. Do you know? They
I
had
mean,
multiple.
they had a bunch of cities all over the place.
Yeah,
I don't remember
right,
from the movie which one they were in, but the city folk.
right. But anyways, he gets captured, I guess, by um, the military from the city and gets sold into slavery, and basically he and some of his fellow tribesmen become part of this ritual. So uh, let's watch it right here, just so you get an idea of what goes on, at
Oh,
least in
okay.
part of the Mayan culture. Excuse the audio for a second.
Let us appease you with this sacrifice to exalt you in your glory.
Kids, look away right now.
Oh, it's a little bit. Oh my God, what are they? They're gonna give him a massage?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very Braveheart.
So
Oh, it's good
now
to
we're
get
getting
that tumor out.
very Indiana Jones-ish too.
Yeah, the heart of God. Okay.
Anyways, that's not the whole part of Mayan or the Mesoamerican ancient civilizations culture, but it's something that's well known and it's important to know about their civilization.
Was
So
that a clip? One of the guys who played the game he lost, or was that just a
no,
sacrifice?
that was just a sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
That was
To give
part
us an
from
idea of what happens if you lose.
right. So definitely a game of life and death, and you definitely want to win if you can.
Yeah.
And so, kind of going back to the game itself, the ball courts was a prominent architectural feature in all cities, kind of like how I mentioned before. Let's get back to our slideshow. Oh, there's a little ritual right there.
Oh.
But so really well designed, as you can see. I mean, that's. I mean, obviously, this is like kind of a modern depiction of it, but it just shows like just from excavations, just shows how these civilizations were brilliant
Were
with their
they
design.
were they showing these courts were at the center of their cities and they built stuff around them? Is that where they were located, kind of, or were they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was a prominent feature, and these courts were placed in the center, and that kind of underscored their importance. I mean, it's very similar to now. I mean, our stadiums are
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much at the heart of many cities and
It's a
all
good
over the
analogy.
world. Yeah. I mean, I could think of like we're based in Atlanta, right downtown. You can see the gigantic Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It looks like a UFO ship right there.
Yeah.
So it's very prominent. Might
It'd
be
be
a UFO
funny
ship.
if in modern days they did, like, because I live further in the outskirts, and if modern day the Braves people came and like raided the outskirts of Atlanta to get people to play in the baseball games, like in Apocalypto. But
Well, that would be a help for you because I don't think you like baseball. So yeah,
no, not as much now.
yeah,
But I'd play it, I guess, if I was forced to
right,
for millions of dollars. So,
yeah, that would not be that bad.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Yeah, it's giving me a good analogy right there. You really are on the outskirts. I don't know. Depending on
Yeah.
what political outcomes happen next few years, maybe you will be dragged into the city and
Let's hope not. For
sacrificed. Yeah,
entertainment, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I think, and I had that discussion with some of my friends for fantasy football draft. Like, I- you know, I want to. I know I don't want to be a part of this, but like, I'm wondering if we would ever get back to the point. Like, let's say we have all our technology now. It's not like we're reverting back to like tribal times, but are we gonna? Is it gonna be like Hunger Games at some point where we're gonna revert back to like watching people die for sport? I don't want
Yeah.
to necessarily be there for that, but
No.
that would be insane. I just it's just a question.
I could see it happening. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
because it would probably start with, the downfall of, say, let's say like an EMP goes off,
Mm.
and then you have like regional warlords pop up, and the sport would be executing their enemies, and then it just kind of evolves from there. So I could see that happening.
But what about if everything kind of stays the same? Like, technology is the same. There's no like event that's making us kind of go backwards.
Oh,
But like, do you think maybe our morals could get worse and then we can kind of go back, like just like Hunger Games, how they're in the future,
oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Definitely, because I think people, when they are convinced they are correct, can justify a lot of atrocities. So as you see societies getting more polarized,
yeah,
you can kind of see people more entrenched in their beliefs, and the more entrenched people are, the more, I guess you could say, against the opposite of what they are, and dehumanizing of people and such, that they can justify just about anything they want.
well,
It's
yeah, especially if politics. Yeah, I guess around the world, definitely United States, it's getting tribal. Even
oh
though we're
yeah,
living in modern times, like it's you're either with us or against us. So happy topic.
yeah. But back to sports.
Back to
Back to
sports.
Zane with sports.
Yeah. So going back to it, like you said, these amazingly designed courts, they were part of the city architectural landscape. The design of the courts with their sloping walls and flat playing surface were consistent across the whole Mesoamerican region. So they were pretty on top of it, of keeping the rules and keeping the layout the same,
Okay.
which is kind of cool. So I guess communication was really good between these societies.
Did they
Depending if
say
they,
about how big these courts were?
I don't know if I have that.
I mean, it
But
looks like it's about the size of a football field, maybe. But
you,
maybe not quite as big.
I'm going to show you a video of like kind of a modern version of
Okay.
it, and it seems shorter. What
Okay.
you might be seeing here is like maybe where the fans can kind of stand around.
Okay.
Um, from my like right in the center here, I think is where they would have the hoop and all that. It almost seems like it's like a tennis court, to be honest.
Ah,
So it's not that huge of a court.
like
Um,
Wimbledon.
Yeah. So I'm assuming these other sides are maybe where fans stand, and then you got the grandstands for, the richer folk.
Okay.
Um, and let's see, the courts are also, this is cool, not surprising. They were aligned with celestial bodies, reflecting the game's connection to the cosmos and the divine. And kind of going backwards, kind of want to, I'll give you like a little look see back at the ball because I talked about it briefly, but the balls were made out of rubber, but they were kind of a technological achievement. They developed a process to extract latex from rubber trees and combine it with other materials to create a durable, bouncy ball. This
Hmm.
innovation was unique to the region and was a key factor in the spread and popularity of the game. And the balls varied in size. I said, some were 10 pounds, but some could be as small as a softball and others as large as a soccer ball. So that makes sense. Like you ever go to a gym, those workout balls are about the size of a soccer ball, but they're like 10 pounds.
I
Um,
can't imagine hip pushing one of those up through a stone hoop on a wall, like a 10-pound medicine ball
mhm,
type of thing. It seems
mhm.
like it'd be so heavy.
It seems like it would be a very low scoring game. I
Yeah.
just,
Take forever.
that's quite the skill to aim with your hips and hit it just so. And those hoops, like, let's see, was it this way? Those hoops seem small. I don't know the
Yeah.
exact diameter here,
Not a
but
lot of give there.
no. So,
But like
you know,
10 pounds, like I can't. I'm just trying to picture like a soccer ball is hard enough to do that with, like with a 10-pound medicine ball. That'd be weird. But
mhm,
the rubber that they're using, so it was kind of bouncy, you said, like they kind of learned
mhm.
how to make it. I guess we didn't really figure out how to do that until we learned about like vulcanization, and that what the process is with, you add like electricity to rubber and it makes it more pliable, like tires and stuff.
I did not know that. That's an
Oh, yeah.
interesting nugget.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's how we can get our like our racket balls and all that,
Yeah,
basically.
well, it's like I think they discovered it when they were making tires, because tires when they make them out of rubber, they'd get brittle really fast, and they weren't like how they are now. Like they last a long time and have that give to them. But when they introduced like electricity to in some step in the process, you chemists can probably comment more so on this, but it'd make it where it was durable and had more elasticity and was able to be used for long term.
So like the current basically did something with the molecules and
Yeah, I guess
that.
it like realigned it or something while it was getting heated, or I'm not sure on the exact. Y'all can Google vulcanization of rubber. I guess.
Yes, chemists, please send us a email to heyguys@telltaleguys.com. Also, don't forget to like us on all our socials and all that. That'd be great, and share the news.
Yeah, same. I think I forgot to mention that earlier. After I mentioned it.
It came up. That's okay. At least we got through halfway of the episode. A little better than doing at the end.
We're professional.
Yeah. So despite the eventual decline that we know of about the Mesoamerican civilizations, a lot of them had kind of tragic declines, especially with disease and invasion and all that. The ball game did leave a lasting legacy. It influenced later cultures and even modern sports. Some aspects of the game, such as the use of the rubber ball, can be seen in modern games. We got a racquetball. Obviously, that's a very small version. Trying to think what else would use kind of a rubber ball.
Basketball kind of rubber. Well, I guess that's leather. Well,
I mean, it's similar.
Rubber. I don't know.
I think it's more. It's like pig skin.
Pig's lip.
Pig's liver. Maybe. But I mean, you can see the similarities. But what's cool about this is the game has experienced a revival in some, modern Mesoamerican regions, with communities playing versions of the game called Ulama. I think I got a picture here. Yeah. So this is it. And so obviously this ball looks more kind of like a softball size. So maybe it's a little easier to manipulate that type of ball.
Yeah. It doesn't look as heavy.
No, it doesn't. And
I like how the people playing it are in like the traditional loincloth things, but the ref is just in like normal clothes and a security guard vest.
Yeah, he needs to be like in like some sort of priestess type outfit. Like,
yeah, something more accurate. Or I don't know if that's the ref. I guess he's security.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got to keep the adoring fans away from these guys with their amazing hips.
Yeah.
But I got a video actually of I'm not sure where this exactly is. They speak Spanish, so but they are playing this Ulama game. So you can get an idea how it looks. It looks difficult.
Oh, that was a horrible shot. Or play. I don't know what you call that. A move? But they're not using a stone hoop, it looks like.
Correct. Yeah. So I was kind of disappointed when I found this, but this was kind of the best one I could find. Thank you, Euro News, for this clip. But maybe it's a little bit too difficult to do, and maybe the fans want more points. And I'm not exactly sure how they're scoring points here. Maybe it's kind of like what's the game with the little birdie? Like you try to keep it up in the air. Badminton. Maybe you try to keep it up in the air, and if someone on the other side drops it before it goes over this line.
Maybe it has to keep bouncing, and if it flatlines, then okay. It kind of looks like a game like you and your brother would invent in the living room with just some kind of sock ball. But it's like you got to hit it with your hip, and you can't let it stop, and it has to cross this line.
Looks like really hard hacky sack or something like that.
Yeah, really hard butt sack, maybe. Sack. Did they say what you said? They call it something now. It's
called Ulama.
Did they say what that means?
I don't know. I can look real quick though. Let's see.
Sure, yeah.
Ulama game meaning.
While you look this up, I think they also played this in, and I referenced this in our last episode about the cities in El Dorado. In the movie, they played it this game with the. I think they had an armadillo that ended up getting back knocked around because they thought it was the ball, but the hip ball, I guess they were called. I don't know, but it's very difficult looking. I don't know, but too, I wonder, it's like, how do they know exactly that's how they played it? Because, like, you didn't have videos or anything. And by the time, the conquistadors came around, they like wiped out so much of their writings and stuff like that.
Right.
I guess maybe the conquistadors maybe wrote down some stuff about it being played. But it's like, yeah,
Well,
how do you know they
they
didn't use their hand to throw it through that hoop? I would have. Like, that
yeah,
makes more sense.
maybe they did. I mean, I kind of showed some art earlier, so maybe there was enough of that where people can kind of guess, um, or just kind of pass down orally. I mean, that's a good
Mm.
question. What I'm seeing a Spanish, what's similar to Olama, but it's spelled Uyama, and that's pumpkin. So
Ah.
maybe that's similar, and they call the game pumpkin.
Because yeah, it's about the size of like one of those wild pumpkins or something
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
ball. That makes sense.
yeah.
Although, but they don't sacrifice people if they lose in this version.
I don't think so,
Uh,
sadly.
that would be cool if they did a ritualistic. It wasn't like they actually did it, but they're just like, all right, you lose, so we're just gonna like, like a Nickelodeon, these slime people, and they just like dump like pig blood on them or something. That'd be
Well,
neat.
sadly, I think they're a little bit more vicious than that. So,
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna say today if they do that
oh,
today.
today, oh,
Yeah, the modern version.
I just hope, yeah, they don't go that far. I mean, you hear those versions kind of like in some Catholic sects where they'll do actual crucifixions. I don't know if they're dying though, but they
Oh.
will get like nails through their extremities. So
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah, okay.
a fairly extreme version of honoring that.
Or
But
like, was it Opus Dei? Is that how they flog themselves?
yeah, that's right.
Is that right? Yeah.
I think it's
It's
Opus Dei.
like symbolic.
So maybe they just give like you like a little prick right on your chest, a little blood, and
Uh,
that's it for the losing team.
okay.
So
I'll stick to my soccer, I think.
yeah, I think that's the right choice. Um, so next up, kind of going along with our little Coliseum vibe in the background there, we got, and let me make sure I'm saying this right. But it's spelled Pankration. So it looks like pankration, but that just sounds weird.
What
Pank-
culture is it from?
So this, let's see. Look, I could do a little voice thing. Pangration. Okay. All right. So this was from Greece. And so let's get our slide deck back up here.
It's Greek to me.
So this was an ancient Greek martial art that combined
Oh,
elements of boxing and wrestling,
okay.
considered one of the most brutal and effective combat sports of its time. This was introduced in the ancient Olympic Games around 648 BC, so a while back, and it allowed almost any technique, including strikes, holds, joint locks, and chokes, with
Okay.
only a few rules, some important rules that you can't bite or gouge out anyone's eyes.
Oh, okay. That's very important. It's kind of like MMA now, I guess. You can do anything as long as you don't do that.
Similar, but I think you were allowed to. You can go a little bit below that. You can rip someone's shoulder out of their socket and keep going. You can break bones. It's really until the opponent submits. Uh,
Hmm. It looks
so
violent from this picture. That's really
yeah,
cool art.
and I don't think it was, it probably happened a good amount that some of these athletes did die. It wasn't like, oh, you're suspended for the whole year and you're fined millions of dollars. Like, no, if someone dies, like it's probably an extra bonus for some of these fans, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and the name pancration, it's translated in Greek to all powerful or all of might. Here's just Well, this is kind of like a depiction of like the Olympic Games. I think right here, this is a different version of the game where they're not playing pankration, but they're playing. They're not competing in it. But I think this is like sprinting around with full armor, which is a sport I looked into as well. I can't remember the name of it, but athletes would be in full armor and they would like sprint, and that was the sport, which is also pretty intense too.
What is so that picture that you were just showing? This is just the stadium of where they would hold these contests.
Right, right. This
Okay.
is this is gives you an idea of what the ancient Olympics would look like. And so the origins of pankration, they're steeped in Greek mythology, often linked to the hero Theseus,
Ooh,
who used
naked.
these, yeah, who used these techniques to defeat the Minotaur and Heracles. Well, I read Hercules. Is Heracles a different person?
No, so Hercules is the Roman pronunciation of Heracles.
Okay,
So everyone says Hercules, but really, if you're using the Greek name, it's Heracles. But Hercules is what everyone knows, so that's what they just say.
Hercules is Roman.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
Hercules is the Roman name
Roman name. Oh,
of
okay.
Heracles. So
Well, I got worried for a second that my clip I was going to play was be useless because it was a
yeah.
different Greek hero. So here we go. One of the most underrated Disney movies of all time. Uh, but so basically, I wanted to show like this game or this event, Pancration, was in honor of Hercules, who subdued the Nemean lion in Greek mythology. And there's this quick little clip of Hercules doing it right here. There he is. All right. Please, God, don't let us get sued. But that was fun. Some of the best music in all Disney movies right there.
Or is that your favorite Disney animated movie?
God, it might be, to be honest. It I it struck a tone with me as a kid. Like I just love the whole hero aspect of it. Um, I love like kind of the love relationship he had with Meg. Uh, what's his name? James Woods was an amazing villain as Hades.
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm.
DeVito as his trainer. There's just so many aspects of it, but everyone doesn't really think about it. But and Greek mythology is cool to me anyway, so it was just fun to watch. Um, I think it's one of the best ones out there. Let's see here. Go back to our slideshow. So that was kind of the inspiration for the sport. It was a test of a warrior's skill, strength, and endurance, and it embodied the Greek ideal of the complete athlete. And it kind of reminds me. I mean, it's a type of form of wrestling. And
Mm-hmm.
did you do wrestling at all when you were in high school or anything?
No, I didn't do that. It didn't really appeal to. Although I had a friend who was pretty good at that. And he wrestled.
Well, it's hard as hell,
Yeah.
because it's true. You use every muscle in your body. You have to be strong, and quick and smart. There's a lot of strategy involved, and so it's definitely a sport that embodies like the complete athlete. And so the training for this ancient sport, it was rigorous. It involved a combination of physical conditioning, technique, and mental prep, and it aimed at creating versatile fighters capable of handling any situation in combats. Excuse me. It was a prominent event in Greek and athletic festivals that included the Olympics, like I said, and it was popular. It was typically held in open air arenas where crowds were gathered to watch the bloody battles. Uh, da, 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 da. But despite its violent nature, and this could be considered wrestling today, park ration was considered an art form and a crucial part of Greek culture. It was practiced by soldiers and warriors as part of their training with techniques passed through generation. And it's had a lasting impact, kind of like you said earlier, um, especially on the sport of MMA, which is the closest thing we can get to this. So I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with MMA, but here's an idea of what it looks like. It's boxing and wrestling, other type of Asian techniques, all rolled into one.
From Hideo Tokoro. Davis now starting to settle into a rhythm. As I say that, dropped and dropped again. Almost too much of a rhythm for LC Davis. Now the level change and he hits the takedown. Might have been a little bit of a desperation takedown. But he
Tickle him. Tickle him.
Yeah.
Fast and furious round number 1. Final seconds.
Be a pretty good strategy.
Really good fight.
Yeah, tickle. That's what I would do. I
Nice,
have a
that's-
couple strategy. We did a little bit of grappling stuff in the Marines and stuff like
Excuse me.
that. So I got some techniques and some stuff we didn't learn in the Marines. I think that would be very effective in those kind of thing. If you ever get yourself in the situation, Zane, you do where's it? The camera. You
Okay.
do thumb right in the armpit. Thumb right in the armpit. Tickle, or you take the pinky, right? And you bend it like that, and you just keep on bending the pinky until
Forward or backwards?
on itself.
And on
On
itself.
itself. Yeah. Just do like that. Press up on the little nail. It renders people useless. They can't do anything.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's what I do sometimes. Just messing around. Just take the little pinky. I mean, it's a pretty stupid little schoolyard thing, but I mean, I have better moves from the Marines, but I like that one because it's like very incapacitating. You don't think
Interesting.
about your pinky that much, but it's really sensitive. And when you start pressing on it like that, I mean, people are gonna stop doing whatever they're doing.
So basically, if you're
Maybe
in
not a
just,
meth head or something, but
yeah, they might not be aware of pain. But
yeah,
so basically, I guess if someone like tries to strike you with a punch and you grab their hand, like you would try to go for the pinky.
yeah. I mean, it's not the optimal move. It's
okay.
just. If you were just horsing around with one of your buddies or something, it didn't really want to hurt them. I would just do that.
Okay.
It's like,
So these are annoying takedowns then.
yeah, annoying. They're more of annoyances.
Not exactly promoted by MMA as the way to
No.
win.
No, and it's harder in
Heavyweight
MMA because you got those
championships.
big gloves on too, so that's harder to do.
Are they really that big?
Hideo Tokoro.
I mean, they're
Really?
pretty meaty. They allow you to grapple and stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of material there.
Excuse me. I should not be. I would bow out pretty quickly because I can't breathe because I have a cough.
Yeah.
So
Just throw some dust in Zane's face and you take him out.
yeah. Well, we're gonna go. Do you watch MMA or anything like that at all?
Yeah, I watch some MMA.
You do.
It's pretty good. I like watching those combat things.
Mhm.
Those type of hand-to-hand skill type of things. In Olympics, I watch some the wrestling is interesting to me. Just how they do like the points. I think the crazier one is that I watch is it Taekwondo, I think, where it's like they look ridiculous because they wear the big like chest thing and like a helmet.
Oh, right.
But they kick, right? They can punch too, but mostly they're trying to kick their opponent in the head. And it's like the clock winds down, so they could have like 2 seconds left, right? But every time they score a point, the clock stops. So like they could like kick you like 6 times before the 2 seconds runs out, and because it stops the clock winding down. It's just wild to watch. Sometimes it's just like, man, it's crazy. And it, like, oh man, they need 5 points, but there's only 10 seconds left, but they get it, it's because it's quick.
The variety of these type of sports and the rules it's pretty amazing, and it's kind of overwhelming. I haven't really got into like I'll watch the occasional boxing super match or whatever, but maybe it would be fun to kind of get into them, but it's not usually my thing.
Yeah, it's just a matter of watching a good fighter. The bad fighters are very boring.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the thing, like MMA, even like UFC, when it first came out, it was to me much more exciting because they were just like no weight classes, no rules, whatever. You just had these crazy matchups all the time. And it was like obviously not for a sport, you need weight classes and stuff to make it more fair, but it was interesting to watch. Oh, this guy is a jiu-jitsu black belt, and he's taking on like a sumo wrestler. Like, how's that going to work out? And it was really more mixed. Nowadays, mixed martial arts is like they're kind of like all the same type of fighter. They learn their strikes and they learn their grappling and submissions. Yeah, it's all kind of melded into one type of art form now. Even though they have backgrounds in different things, jiu-jitsu, karate, whatever, but for MMA, the more efficient stuff is to kind of learn the grappling and the striking and the submissions. So
it's what was I gonna say? It's interesting, like you said, that it sounds like the very beginning of MMA, as they were trying to get going or get more popular, is probably as close as you get to this ancient sport of pay creation.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah.
Well, speaking of fighting, we're going to continue with the violent theme. This isn't really necessarily a sport. It's more about glorified death. Let me get back to, or here we are. So this is Namachia. I'm going to look up this pronunciation too. Pronunciation, so we get it right.
Is that a ship?
Yes. So.
Okay.
Oh no. Well, we'll just take that out of the editing.
What's that?
You didn't hear that?
No.
Okay, good. It was a political ad that popped up.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
And
also, I'm very bad at remembering where my editing marks are in this. So, listeners, if you see us talk about me editing something out and then I don't, oops.
That's fair. So I think it's actually called Namaki.
Okay.
But this was an elaborate form of entertainment in ancient Rome. So moving across the water in the Mediterranean that involved staging mock naval battles in colosseums. These spectacles were typically held in specially constructed basins or amphitheaters. Kind of get an idea here. People are in the audience, and you can watch these naval battles. And
I like this chick right here in the front in the white dress. Oh,
yeah, she's trying to like seduce the ladies to the left. I guess you're right.
What is she doing? Hey,
Josh, we're talking about naval battles here.
I thought you meant belly button navels.
No, not belly button nails. But so these Colosseums, they were flooded with water, allowing ships to engage in simulated combat. The first known Namaki was organized by the famous Julius Caesar in 46 BC, I guess right before he was stabbed in the back. And this included thousands of combatants to celebrate his military victories, because that's right, he was pretty well known in that realm. These events were rare due to their immense cost and the logistical challenges involved, but they became a symbol of imperial power and prestige under emperors like Augustus and Claudius. The construction of venues for Namaki involved significant engineering feats. And for instance, Augustus, he built a large basin near the Tiber River. And so you can kind of see here's the Tiber River to the left. And they would, I'm not sure right here, that might just be like some water reservoir to the left, but they would fill, I guess, these stadiums right here in the yellow from the river. And let's see.
Okay, so the smaller yellow one is the reservoir that they pulled from the river to fill the stadium, it looks like.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
And like the little boxes are the stadiums. And so Claudius, he famously flooded the Fucine Lake for an even grander display. Participants in these battles were often prisoners of war or condemned criminals, and they were forced to fight to the death, as you can probably presume. These battles were a demonstration of military prowess and a grim form of capital punishment. The spectacle was meant to awe the populace and underscore the emperor's control. The scale and complexity of Namaki also highlighted Rome's advancements in engineering and logistics, very similar to what we were talking about in Mesoamerica. the creation of artificial lakes, the construction of like these, I guess, kind of mini ships that they're replicas of probably like other famous Roman naval ships. Um, so that's pretty cool. And the coordination of large numbers of participants all showcased Roman innovation. But like I said, these were infrequent. These are rare events. These were probably for, Julius Caesar's birthday or something like that, because they were
Ah.
enormously expensive and required a lot of resources. Uh,
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
one thing I've always heard in the history books, and when they flooded the Colosseum to do the naval battles and stuff like that, like that would be something to really see, and something that you would think today would be something that we could do a little bit more easily, especially in like some place like, I don't know, Las Vegas or something where they
Mhm,
like spectacles. Like, why don't they bring that back? Not obviously with real people killing each other, but some sort of recreation of a battle on an ocean, but like in a flooded arena. That would look really awesome. I
mhm.
think didn't Elon talk about doing something like that in the Coliseum? Like, now was that just him doing an MMA fight with Zuckerberg? I think.
Oh, that's what it was. He just wanted to do
Okay,
an MMA fight with Zuckerberg,
okay.
but
But I
it
thought
wouldn't
I heard
surprise me.
something too about him doing something with flooding the Colosseum as well, or bringing it. I don't remember. But that would be cool modern day to see,
Mhm,
definitely. Just because when you hear about it, you're like,
mhm.
I want to see what that actually looks like, in person.
I know they're. I feel like just talking about this. I feel like they have kind of done these recreation things. I'll have to look into it. I mean, it kind of reminds me. You see like you know those night battles and like the Renaissance
Mhm.
fairs. Like they do that a lot. But something of this scale would be pretty magnificent. It's a good question.
What's the medieval times they do? They go,
Medieval times and
yeah.
somewhere up
I,
here in Georgia.
I have a friend who dated the Yellow Knight from the medieval times.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah.
The charming Yellow Knight.
Yeah. I think she said he was about what you would expect the Yellow Knight to be. uh,
Whoa, is it storming up there in
yeah,
North
thunder.
Georgia? Wow.
Oh, the Zeus doesn't like me talking about the the
Yeah,
Colosseum, I guess.
you got to give
Or
respect.
Jupiter, right? Jupiter.
You got Jupiter. You got to give respect to
Yeah.
the Namaki. Uh, but yeah, so very. I mean, that's a good point. Like of all these, there's other ancient sports and events, but this one would be pretty magnificent to see. Uh, you know, they pulled all the stops for these apparently, so like be
Uh,
chaos to watch.
Although, would you be against having like actual criminals fight to the death who are like maybe like on death row, for spectacle? Like, say, like, what's that noise? You hear that?
Oh.
Uh, is that a
Uh,
doorbell?
yeah, we'll just call it a doorbell and
Okay.
not Isabel's phone. Uh,
Ah.
um, so,
Yes, Isabel.
uh,
But yeah,
um,
say like the criminals are on death row. It's been like confirmed. Obviously they're
mhm,
guilty. Got video evidence of them committing a murder or something.
mhm.
Like, would you be opposed to us having some kind of, capital punishment slash entertainment nowadays?
I think they would have to be, yeah, like the worst of the worst serial killers or pedophiles, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be okay with that. I think just the only problem with that, you do that, and I think it could turn the audience into really bloodthirsty people, though. So I don't know if
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
great,
trade off.
I don't know if it's a great idea in the long run. Like it sounds good, but I think it kind of could lead to a degradation of morals for the whole culture.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Telltale Guys, kind of not for capital punishment entertainment, but maybe, I don't know.
Right, right. Maybe
Probably
yeah.
bad idea.
We're meh on the subject.
Yeah.
Um, but just kind of to recap, basically these are amazing engineered events. Wouldn't necessarily call them sports. Maybe the sport of your saving your life. Um, and so,
Did
but
the winners get to live? Is that how this would
I,
happen, or did just
I
everybody die?
I think it was pretty similar. Like the winning team, they were like lauded, and maybe they would get out of um, these gladiator roles. Maybe they get their freedom, or they continued coming back and back and became like celebrities, because like some gladiators just kept coming back and back because they just kept winning, and they became their own like heroes to Roman culture and all
Sure,
that. So
yeah.
but these didn't last too long because they were just like they were too expensive, and too much went into them. But I'm not sure like the frequency, maybe once a year or something like that. But sadly, Hollywood is going to capitalize on this topic in a stupid way. They're going to make Gladiator 2, which is completely unnecessary.
Travesty.
But they do have a clip of, they are going to go into like what naval battles look like. So that's kind of interesting. And here it gives you a quick look of what it looks like, because we don't have video evidence apparently from ancient Rome.
No.
Rome ever built
Oh.
the Colosseum, because this is what they believe in: power.
Power.
Ah! In the water.
Anyways, that's
Looks
all they
very
had in the
accurate.
trailer. But so that Gladiator might be my favorite movie all time, and I just can't believe they decided to make a sequel.
Really?
And they have Denzel Washington just acting like Denzel Washington, like
From New York, the Romans from the New York
yeah.
section.
So, I don't know, but they might work. It might suck me in because it does look kind of interesting to see naval battles, and then also they have like more creatures that they use in the gladiator battles. Like there's this one guy who's riding on top of a rhino charging into gladiator. So looks kind of fun, I guess. I might sell my soul and see it.
So Gladiators is your favorite movie of all time?
It's close. It's right up there. I know
Okay.
maybe that's cheesy to say, but
No, it's a good movie.
It's excellent. So do you have a favorite like kind of ancient war movie?
I mean, I think I would say 300. I know it's not accurate. It's not really supposed to be. It's based off a graphic novel. But man, that's a fun movie, and it's like so badass. like,
It's good.
like
It makes
I can't tell you how many people I just want to like kick into a giant pit when they come knocking on my door. It's just like, this is my house.
Makes you want to work out, that's for sure.
It does, but then I'm like, just CGI that on me. It's fine.
Just paint the abs on.
Yeah, it really makes you feel inadequate, but it's still pretty badass. So
yeah. Well, speaking of badass, these were kind of the ancient sports I wanted to cover. There are a lot of them out there, but these were kind of the interesting ones that I found. Which one do you think is most interesting? And if there's one that I didn't go over, talk about it.
I think the first one you covered with the Mesoamerican ball sport would be really cool to see as it was back in the day on how they actually played it, because there's a lot of speculation and recreation on how people kind of think it was played and stuff like that. But to see like how people would have played it who were supposedly good at it, like I want to see how that was done. Like just because the way we describe it is like hitting it with your hip, 10-pound ball. Like, come on, really, is that gonna happen? I don't know. It's like maybe they did something a little different with it. But there is a kind of, you did have a sport in there that made me think of something that's modern day with the fighting one. Have you heard of Calico Storico? Let me play. I'll share a clip with you real quick.
All right.
Let me see. Share screen. Window. This one. Let's see. I guess this one will work. Let me make it full screen.
Everyone just relax on the clouds under the clouds while we wait.
Okay, here we go.
Whoa. I can't hear the sound. Are you still there, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay. Can't hear the sound, but that's okay.
Okay, sound's not so much important, but it's a big chaotic event. essentially. Let me see if I can get to a better part here. Kinda trying to find a good spot for you. Here we go, some fighting.
Jeez. So is this an all-out boxing? Just
Yes.
or everything? Just
Yeah, so basically this sport is played in Italy, and what they do is it's a ball game, but you have
oh,
teams of just massive amounts of people, and you have to move the ball from one side to the other, and there's no rules. You just like beat the crap out of each other to advance the ball. So it's just people like punishing people. It's very brutal. Like it's violent. Like
so you're like carrying the ball towards a goal, and people just like tap, and you just try to get it closer and closer to the
yeah,
goal.
try to get it advancing the thing. But you can punch people in the face. People get broken arms all the time. It's like it's mixed martial arts mixed with like I don't know, rugby almost. It's kind of
Right.
but it's a traditional one played it's played in Florence, Italy, and it goes back like 500 years, something like that. But there's a good Netflix documentary about this and other sports. It's called Home Game on Netflix. So I'd say check that out to get a better idea of how it is. But it just your MMA sport kind of reminded me of that is taking place in Italy, and it's just like very brutal and violent, something that people aren't really familiar with. But it would be interesting to kind of see it more on a larger scale. But I guess those type of sports are very niche,
Mhm.
so it's not like it has wide appeal. But if you're into fighting and martial arts, and also the ball is like a secondary thought almost because it's more like the
Seems
purpose
like
is
it.
to beat each other up. And some of the, I mean, you saw the guys on there, they're massive. Like I wouldn't want to play that.
Mm-mm. No thanks.
Yeah.
How long does the game take? Is it like an hour long or
I think it takes until the score is what it needs to be. I forgot. Like I think traditionally, like it could go days if I'm remembering correctly. Like back in
wow.
the day, back in the day. Now it's a little bit more regulated, but yeah, like it used to be just like. Let me see if I can find out how like the actual rules for it. It's called Calico Storico, and it's from the Middle Ages. Let me see. It had a modern revival, and gosh, I think it kind of pits like I want to say like neighborhoods, kind of like in Florence. Like each
Oh.
kind of like has their team, right? So you have
It
there's one,
translates
two,
into
three, four.
historic football, apparently.
To what?
Historic football.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like they have one, two, three, four teams. They have the blues, the reds, the whites, and the greens. And that's how they compete each year. And they just kind of no holds bar tournament to see who's the winner of the city kind of thing. And it's played on like I guess it's like when you saw the deal, it's like a football field size type of thing.
Mhm.
Each team has 27 players, no substitutions. You have a referee and six like lines officials, I guess, to kind of determine who has the ball when or whatever, because you're all just like fighting each other. Um,
Check
and
check out this like shot right here. This guy's kind of holding the ball and someone just punches him right below the
yeah,
chest.
bang. Like it's an ultimate I guess testosterone sport. you gotta be you gotta be pretty brave, I guess, to step on this field.
I mean, look at this guy's face. Like that is like pure determination and
Yeah.
testosterone. You're right.
And look at those guys. I mean, they're like it's like prison. This is like a prison yard game almost.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I think they do have a time limit. Oh yeah, 50 minutes. So which team has the most scores in 50 minutes wins the game. So
That's for the best.
yeah, and no substitutions too. Like you got to be out there fighting for an hour. Like okay, no thank you.
And can you jump out at any time if you need a break, or does
I mean, I
it
guess you
just
can sit down and just rest, but you can't. I mean, if you get hurt and your broken bones, I guess you get taken off.
mm,
But there's no substitutes, so your team's just down. I guess. So
I
that's
like
why you
their
got to be these big burly dudes and tough, so you don't like break.
I like their just real quick their uh they got like these pants like they got like the ancient like
Oh yeah,
jester looking pants.
the classical Renaissance type of,
Renaissance.
yeah, about 500 years ago, I guess. But yeah, that's wild. These type of sports and old things, and just I'm always interested in like what influenced like you know, the first game of those, like with the Mesoamerican ones. I think it wasn't like the history, like it was given to them by the gods or something, or it represents something about the gods. Um,
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
like
It's
getting the ball through the hoop represents, I don't know,
well they
some.
said like it well yeah, that probably deals with like deities, like the ball going in the sky, but also like just the struggle between the teams like was a you know symbolism of life and death.
Yeah.
And
So
literally
I
sports were these back then these sports were typically life and death. So the ultimate adrenaline fueled sport.
Is there one that you would play, you think? Maybe
Um,
not for death, but
the coolest one to be a part of would probably be the naval battle. That would be crazy.
okay.
But I
Are you
probably
nautical and do you like being on ships?
I like being on ships. I think being in the water is cool. But do I know how to handle a boat? No. I just think it's interesting.
I think if I was the Roman emperor back then and I did a naval battle, I would throw in some sharks in there or something, something that, or gators,
Mhm.
maybe like have them imported and be like, all right, so you're going to have a naval battle, but also deal with these sharks and alligators. But I'd make a horrible emperor, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, sounds like. You also have like the evil emperor, like ancient emperor Leonidas look. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, so it could be like combine Leonidas and who is the Xerxes? Like
Yeah, just
that's my
Xerxes.
look.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Thanks. Well, I
So
think
do we have
yeah,
any
yeah,
kind of a recap of or musical speaking of gestures, anything that's
yeah,
fun to kind of
yeah. I got some of
highlight our
that.
sports here?
I think no sporting event is complete without music things. So
Mhm.
I got a little bit of taste for what I thought this episode was going to be about.
They played with ancient hand, from chariots to sand, to win their homeland's brand. With shields and swords they fought, not just in battles sought. The games were fiercely caught, respect and honor taught. Chariots racing fast, throwing javelins vast, wrestling to be the last, history's glorious past.
Javelin was close for me.
The
I
Greeks
almost
they
did
tossed
that.
the disc, an art that's no mere whisk. Archery sharp and brisk, in arenas men took risk. Medieval knights did joust, with faith they would announce their skill and valor to rouse, all challengers renounce.
That's a little taste of that one. I
All right.
thought, what would be cool is if I had like a minstrel following me with a lute or lyre playing like the Hercules movie. They had the little
hmm
singing vases.
hmm
That'd be cool to follow you around while you did deeds, I think.
That would be nice. I don't know. I'd probably get annoyed with it after a while, though. It's not my cup of tea, music wise, but
Oh, okay.
I guess it would. It'd be nice for a bit.
Yeah, or like you're going grocery shopping maybe, and it's like, oh, Zane picketh the strawberries freshest from the crop.
I would rather like the coconut guy from Monty Python. I think that would get me
Oh,
inspired to complete my quest.
you mean the horse guy with the
hmm
clippity clop?
Yeah, like
I have a controversial take on Monty Python is that I don't think it's that funny. Like,
well,
I know I'm in the minority on that. I don't know. I could never get into it. I'm like, I mean, I get what they're doing, but it's just like,
it's a particular type of humor. And I remember when I first saw it, I was I don't know middle school,
Mhm.
and it actually kind of disturbed me in a way because it's kind of violent, and kind of dark at times. And I was like,
Yeah.
it kind of made me feel kind of weird when I first saw it, but after getting older, I was like, this is just a funny, silly, stupid movie. So it is. It's definitely its own unique thing. So
I
I'm
mean,
not hating on you.
I like silly and stupid, like Mel Brooks movies,
Mhm.
good. Austin Power movies, also good.
Mhm.
I like them. They're just, I couldn't get into Monty Python.
Monty Python, they're odd ducks, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you can leave in the notes or comment below how much I'm stupid for not liking any Monty Python or, whatever else that you guys have to comment on. Maybe some of these sports, what if you were playing one? Do you have one that we didn't mention maybe that you like? That's all I had.
Oh, I thought you were leaving it to me. I was like, no, I like them all. All right.
All right. That's
Well,
all for this week.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye.
Dusty fields where we used to roam, legends whisper from ancient stones. No hips to hit that ball in air, games of glory we did not share. Telltale guys scream from the stands, no to pain by our own hands. Blood for sport we won't condone, ancient echoes carved in bone. Run through the fields of old where stories once were bold. No heads to hit the hoop, we're rebels out of the loop. In the shadows of ancient coliseums, athletes bled their own freedoms. Telltale guys in distant haunts whisper justice that still taunts. Through the ages, screams and shouts where cruelty wraps in fable stout. No more tears on battle's ground, we stand for life, this sacred sound. Run through the fields of old where stories once were bold. No hips to hit the hoop, we're rebels out of the loop. Run through the fields of old where stories once were bold. No hips to hit the hoop, we're rebels out of the loop. The loop. The rebels out of thousand cheers. We rise beyond the ancient fears. No more blood for simple sport. Peace and kindness our retort. Run through the fields of old where stories once were bold. No hips to hit the hoop, we're rebels out of the loop. In the shadows of ancient cold where stories once were bold. No hips to hit the hoop, we're rebels out of the loop. In the shadows of ancient cold where stories once were bold. No hips to hit the hoop, we're rebels out of the loop. In the shadows of ancient coliseums, athletes bled their own freedoms. Telltale guys in distant haunts whisper justice that still taunts. Through the ages, screams and shouts where cruelty wraps in fable stout. No more tears on battle's ground, we stand for life, this sacred sound. Through echoes of 1,000 cheers, we rise beyond the ancient fears. No more blood for simple sport. Peace and kindness are retort.